Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
Dion's Daily Dose for Wednesday, June 17th, 2020. So there's a couple of features on this thing that this platform that I'm using that I actually didn't even know about. So I'm going to use it to make this a little better. That said, there's a lot to cover today. The world is just going nuts, right? Going absolutely insane in the worst possible way. First off, I'm going to talk about the DOJ has joined in with Trump finally on this Section 230 thing, the tech liability shield, right? The thing that allows big tech to get away with what they get away with. It's the difference between being a publisher and a platform. They're supposed to be a platform. That's what they claim ever since the beginning, right? We're talking about Twitter. We're talking about Facebook. All these big tech companies that get certain protections, YouTube included. So I'm going to show you the article real quick. I'll give you a link, but there's a lot more. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. Just real quick. Boom, there we go. So the Department of Justice is taking aim at tech's liability shield with a new set of legislative proposals released Wednesday. The proposed reforms are the latest action aiming to weaken legal protection established through a 1990s law known as Section 230, which protect online platforms from being held liable for content their users post on their sites. Now, if you'll know, I'm a little bit of a grammar freak here. This is actually the possessive of users and should not be used here. Just saying. The proposal follows a bill introduced by Senator Josh Hawley, Missouri, earlier Wednesday in an executive order on social media signed by President Donald Trump last month. Look, it just comes down to they are targeting conservatives. We've seen it. We've proved it. And I believe that this is a good step. It's this initial protection, right? The Section 230. In the early days of the internet, it was set up before we got anything close to what we have now. I mean, this is what, 30 years ago almost. A lot has happened in 30 years, ladies and gentlemen, with the internet and with content online and all these things. So that's just the first of many things. Before I go on to the other cool news stuff, I'm going to tell you, I have learned so much running for office. I, like many of you out there, thought that elections were kind of, at least candidacy was kind of limited, right? It was limited to those that were part of the elite. It was limited to those that were either very wealthy or came from a political family or kind of got approached, right? That's not true. And I would really like to tell all of you out there, I truly hope that all of you get involved in your political process. Don't just vote, right? Learn about what's happening locally. Presidential election is well and good, but you can so much on a local level just learning about the people actually running for office. Put your name in there, run for something, school board, mayor, right? There's nothing wrong with running for mayor. Put your name out there. Depending on which way you voted, right? And this applies to left or right. A a lot of times you have to have voted in a primary and had a party declaration, right, run on that ticket. But there's nothing stopping you from running as an independent. And I'm going to tell you, yes, it costs money to run for office, at least to run seriously for office. But I'm going to tell you, I won LaPorte County, right? And I spent a fraction of what some of these people spent. Look, the bottom line is McDermott lost and so did I, right? McDermott spent $500,000, over $500,000 to run for this office. I spent what, $2,500, $3,000 maybe, mostly my money, but that's okay, right? I have learned so much. Number one, don't wait. If you look at your political climate, if you look at what's going on in your city, county, township, and you don't like it, if you don't think that the best possible people are in charge, start getting involved now for 2022, 2023, whatever, whenever your next local election is. Start getting involved now. Start attending meetings. Reach out. If you're a Republican, reach out to your Republican Party, your local Republican Party. What can I do? How can I help? Sharing messages on Facebook, sharing posts on Facebook. Awesome. I cannot tell you how much that helps candidates, because it really, really does. If you want to do more, then do more. Yes, donating to a candidate's campaign is big. I'm going to tell you, I accomplished what I accomplished with a fraction of the money that other candidates spent because of people like you, because of people like you that on my behalf, that shared my message on my behalf. It's huge. I cannot stress this enough. Volunteers are the single biggest part of a candidate's success. So again, for all of you that helped me, thank you very much. I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And I can tell you that officially my political career is not over. There are things in the works as we speak. More on that soon. I will tell you that regardless of which side you're running as for, regardless of what office you're running for, chase those endorsements, just because you will never be able to reach as many people as you can without them, and just individual endorsements as well. But FOP, fire departments, things like that, they help, because the average person, right? Unfortunately, I wish more people would become educated voters, because I think that's probably the single biggest problem with our current political system is that most people, I don't know about most, a large percentage of the population just kind of go in the voting booth with no idea. Look, I used to do it, right? I used to do it. I knew nothing about the local candidates. And believe it or not, many of them are far more important than who's in that Oval Office. Your DA, your judges, look at what liberal, far left judges have done to this country. Really, really stop and think about it. How did those people get into office? Uninformed voters going into that voting booth and going, oh yeah, that looks like a good name. Oh yeah, I think I saw a sign for that person. Click. They have no idea, right? Remember that George Soros actually pumped a bunch of money into local district attorney races all across the country, and we're seeing the effects of that now. Let me show you. Yes, Dave, I agree. 2023 cannot get here soon enough. There are many things that we need to make happen. Yeah, eyes wide open indeed, Jack. Eyes wide open indeed. I have learned so much. Not just about the corruption, right? Because we know there's corruption. Part of that is your local voting. You got to get out there. You got to get involved. You got to get rid of some of these people. Some of these people have been in office for so long, in various offices, right? In various offices. I'm not focusing on any one particular office, because there are people from both sides rotate through offices, right? They'll be this office for as long as they can serve, and then they'll move on to this office, and then they'll move on to that office. I truly believe that it's time to do something about that. And you and I can do it. We can make it happen. Let me show you some of the other crazy stories that are out there right now. Again, not going to take a whole lot of time on each of these, but here's a perfect example of uninformed. The average uninformed person. This isn't about voting, but it definitely can apply. Statue of abolitionist John Greenleaf Whittier vandalized in his namesake city. Poet, abolitionist, and Quaker the city was named after was vandalized over the weekend. His statue, right? They wrote BLM on it, as well as expletive slave owners. Here's the problem, right? This guy actually fought against slavery, right? He actually fought against slavery. Here's what I want to see. Did not enslave people, and indeed was a leading anti-slavery activist in his time, in addition to being a renowned poet. Now, here's what I want to say about this, right? Even when they are talking about an abolitionist statue getting desecrated, defaced, they still can't help but apologize, right? Quote, however, it is important to acknowledge the reasons why the protesters are so frustrated, she said. Quote, while Whittier is celebrated for his poetry and his activist legacy, there are numerous African-American poets and activists of his era, such as Francis E.W. Harper, James Madison Bell, and James M. Whitfield, who have received too little recognition. The statues in this country overrepresent the influence of white people and underrepresent the importance of people of color, especially African-American people, in our nation's history. Now, I want you to really think about that. People actually defaced the statue of someone who very vocally fought against slavery, and they still feel the need to justify it. The people talking about what this person did, who they were, felt the need to justify the defacing of this statue. That is how insane we have gotten. It gets better. It gets better. It always does, right? So this is funny, but not what I was looking at. Okay, so look at this. You guys familiar with OAN, right? One American News. So Oklahoma State's Mike Gundy apologizes for, quote, pain and discomfort caused because he wore an OAN shirt. He wore a T-shirt, ladies and gentlemen, and cancel culture came for him. Yes, they did. Gundy and Hubbard appeared in a video message together that drew widespread criticism. On Tuesday, Hubbard posted twice more about needing to hold Gundy accountable and pushing for change. Hold him accountable. They want to, quote, hold him accountable for wearing a T-shirt. For wearing a T-shirt of a syndicated news program. One American News, right? It's a channel. So what? I don't know about you, but I'm tired of cancel culture. Like, seriously, incredibly sick of cancel culture. They came after him full on because here's why, right? Here's why everyone is going after anyone who wears a One American News shirt. They claim it is a far-right news network that is often cited by the president. The network, which they have to point out has a fraction of the audience of Fox News, has tried to position itself as a place for a pro-Trump audience that believes other conservative news outlets have become too mainstream in their reporting. No, they believe that other channels have become lefty in their reporting. It recently criticized the Black Lives Matter movement. Yes, indeed, that was their crime. That's what One American News did to deserve anyone who wears their shirt being a target of cancel culture. They criticized Black Lives Matter. Just think on that. So the next here, let me drop this link for you so you can read the whole thing when you get time. Good stuff. So here's the next little thing, which is delicious. I have to say, it's delicious. So now this is from Politico, who, as we all know, has their own particular slant. I'm actually kind of shocked they're even reporting on this, but they are. I have to give them credit. Nebraska Democrats renounce their Senate pick over comments. Chris Janacek didn't deny that he made offensive comments, but he said he apologized for them and assumed the matter would be kept private. Yes. Yeah. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that if you are approved by the left, as long as you apologize, you're okay, right? Look at look at Prime Minister of Canada, right? It's okay. Look at Virginia governor. As long as you apologize, it's okay. Well, apparently they're having none of it. Apology is not good enough in this case. The Nebraska Democratic Party called on its U.S. Senate nominee to drop out of the race Tuesday after he made sexually repugnant comments about a campaign staffer in a group text with her and other staffers. The party said its state executive committee voted unanimously on Monday evening to withdraw all of its resources from Chris Janacek's campaign. Yes, all of its resources. Janacek, the owner of an Omaha cupcake bakery, is challenging Republican Senator Ben Sasse, who is seeking a second term. Janacek accepted the Democratic nomination a little more than a month ago after winning a 7-candidate primary race. But the odds of winning in November were against him in Republican-dominated Nebraska, even before his party withdrew its support. Quote, "Our Democratic Party has no tolerance for sexual harassment," State Democratic Party Chairwoman Jane Cleave said in a statement. Quote, "Our party will not extend resources or any type of support to any candidate that violates our code of conduct and doesn't treat men and women with the dignity and respect they deserve." Now, it doesn't actually say exactly what he said. I was kind of hoping it would. I was kind of hoping they'd list, okay, is this bad? But remember that many of these Democrat candidates have been caught in very, very far more offensive things than this, and that's okay, right? That's perfectly fine. This is not. I'm going to show you what I mean. The text messages, which were obtained by the Associated Press, were from a group chat involving Janacek and 5 other people, including the female staffer. At one point, he wrote that he had argued with her and then asked whether the campaign should spend money on, quote, getting her laid. "It will probably take 3 guys," he wrote, before describing in graphic detail an imagined group sex scene involving the female staffer. He then tried to walk back those comments as, quote, a joke, and texted an apology to the group. Quote, "I am going on no sleep and a bunch of exuberant excitement, and I think I was out of line," he wrote. You think? Look, I'm not a huge, given what I just said, I'm not a big fan of cancel culture. That said, at least they're being consistent, right? At least they're saying, oh yeah, all this stuff is bad, so we're going to pull his support. So I'm going to tell you, right? I read actually a quote from Bill Clinton that said his biggest mistakes that he made on the campaign trail were from when he was tired, when he ran for president, right? The mistakes that he made were because he was tired. As a candidate, it's critically important to censor yourself, including when you're tired, especially when you're tired. So this guy apparently said, oops, right? The female staffer texted back that she was appalled by his comments and could no longer support his campaign. Quote, "You are my boss and a candidate running for Senate, an office held by just 100 Americans representing approximately 330 million of her people," she wrote. "There is zero tolerance for what you said." Now, I'm willing to bet that when he got that back, he went, uh-oh. Party officials said they demanded that Janacek withdraw as the party's nominee, which, by the way, he refused to do. The campaign staffer, who has since quit, filed a formal complaint with the party, alleging that Janacek violated its code of conduct that prohibits sexual harassment. You know what they're going to say, right? It's like third-party sexual harassment, because based on technicalities, it is. In a brief phone interview, Janacek said he doesn't plan to drop out of the race. He alleged that the party was targeting him because he disagreed, this is interesting, with its more liberal activists on issues such as abortion rights and gun control. Quote, they're using this as a crutch, he said. Are they? I don't know. But Janacek didn't deny that he made offensive comments, but he said he apologized for them and assumed the matter would be kept private. Blah, blah, blah. There's not much more, but I do find it interesting that there does seem to be a massive surge, right, of offensive, right? A big, massive surge of people being offended for everything. Yeah, and that's a perfect example, Walter. What about Biden, right? If the Democrat Party is so anti everything, right? If they're so pro-equality, so anti-harassment and all these things, what about the accusations that are out there? Why aren't they saying, you know what, Biden, I don't think it's a good idea. I think you should I think you should withdraw, right? You don't hear that from them. It's back to blue, back to blue. But what is it? Vote who? Seriously? No matter who, right? No matter if this vegetable, right, is running as a Democrat, by all means, let's vote for this vegetable. What? So look, I got a couple of more really good ones. So I don't know if any of you have T-Mobile, right? But so apparently on Monday, T-Mobile's network just went completely down hard, right? I'm gonna give you the short version. The short version, if we're reading this correctly, a fiber optic circuit failed and its backup circuit also failed. The chain reaction that strained the network to the point that many calls and texts couldn't make it through. So that's what happened to the T-Mobile customers on Monday when they were not able to make calls or texts, right? We had a situation where T-Mobile's entire network froze up, went brain dead, and died temporarily. And then they were apparently able to resurrect it with the powers of modern technology, and here we are. So that's the short version. If you're interested in the long version, exactly what happened, it's in the article. I linked it there for you. But that's what happened to T-Mobile. People were wondering, hey, I don't have anything. So the last news story, which this is dedication. I'm going to tell you, this is dedication. A Belgian man has been pranked with pizza deliveries for 9 horrible years. 9 years. People keep pranking this poor guy. Now, I don't know who he made angry, but holy cow, that is dedication, right? For a man in Belgium, after 9 years of pizza delivery, he was finally fed up enough to turn to the press. The name is Jean van Landegem, and the pizzas that have plagued him for nearly a decade have become a global phenomenon after the Belgian site, I'm not even going to try to say that here, one of the country's oldest and most popular and completely legitimate newspapers, shared the turnout resident's bizarre tale late last month. It started 9 years ago, he was translated. Suddenly, a pizza delivery man handed me a whole load of pizzas, but I hadn't ordered anything. All kinds of stuff kept coming. Initially, he thought it was a mix-up, but eventually he realized, and again, look, how hard is it? Why do we not have editors anymore? Why do we not have proofreaders? Once again, right? That's not even a word. Intention? What? Had to be malicious. It's frustrating. I cannot sleep anymore. I start shaking, blah, 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 blah. This guy has been pranked for 9 years. 9 years. That's a long time to get pranked over pizza or with pizza or whatever. I think this guy knows what he did personally, but maybe not. Maybe not. Because according to him, he has a friend who is also getting pranked. It's in the article. And when one of them gets a delivery, they'll tell the other one, yeah, probably today, right? I don't know how consistent it is. It didn't say whether it was monthly, weekly, whatever, but it's been going on for a very long time. And that must be a very serious grudge to prank someone incessantly for 9 years. So, Dave, I think you might be onto something. 5G reset, it's completely possible. I will tell you that if other providers start dropping and resetting, I'm going to think there's definitely something up. I thought all these carriers had multiple backups. It's interesting to see exactly how vulnerable our communications network is. How many people think it was a dedicated attack of some sort, and they're just saying this because they're supposed to backups, multiple. It's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. So one of the things that I've learned, kind of to wrap up, about running for office is no matter how pure your intent, no matter how good your message, no matter who's on the ballot with you, don't never, ever, ever discount anyone on the ballot. There were a number of us that were absolutely shocked by the numbers other candidates got in this race, and really made no sense. Even doing the math, figuring out, okay, so if they did this, if they did that, what is going on, right? And the state party was very clear when I went down to Congress of Counties. They said there's no predicting a primary, right? There is no predicting a primary. And they're right? They're absolutely right. So my advice, voting is good, right? By all means, please get out and vote, because I'm going to tell you, we had 12% turnout in some districts, right? In some precincts, 12%. If the majority of people had gotten out, and that's total turnout, that's not for, just Republican or that's total 12%. If people actually got off the couch and went to vote, we could get these corrupt ass people out of office in a single election. A single election, we could get these people out of office and get them replaced with at least better, right? At least better people. I'm going to tell you, it's very, very frustrating as someone who used to be that guy who said, yes, voting changes things. Votes, and I still believe you have to get out there and vote. But I don't know that voting in and of itself is enough. If you really want to affect change, get involved. Get involved, whether it is making phone calls, sharing information, talking on both sides of the aisle. One of the things that it took me a while to really come about, right, to really understand, is sharing memes and shutting people down is entertaining, right? It really is, especially when you have a really good meme and it makes people look really dumb. It's fun, right? But it doesn't foster real conversation. Now, there are those people who are not going to listen no matter what. I'm convinced that Joe Biden is the answer to everything, despite him not being able to make it. Have you seen ones like, it's like you can't go 2 weeks without this guy saying something utterly ridiculous. I mean, just utterly ridiculous. And Dave, I wholeheartedly agree. We absolutely have to get rid of the career politicians. Have to get rid of the career politicians. There are those people, I believe, that get into it with the best of intentions. They get in there, they learn how stuff works. They're like, okay, all right, yeah, I gotta, give a little on this bill, maybe that bill. But after a while, right, I think it's time that we need new people in, regardless of what position they're in. I mean, it's really, really sad to see that some of these people, and again, both sides of the aisle, people that have been in office for 30, 35, 40 years, blaming Donald Trump for everything that ails the country, when they have literally been in there, some of them almost longer than I've been alive, right? They've had all these years to fix the problems that they're talking about now. It's like the whole kneeling deal, right? With our politicians kneeling, talking about, oh, there's all this in this country, and it's time to do something about it. Why wasn't it time to fix it 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 25 years ago? You've been in office all this time, and all of a sudden, overnight, it's a problem. Overnight. I don't buy it. I refuse to believe the illusion, right? I refuse to believe the illusion. You can't convince me that all this stuff is not in some way, shape, or form connected. Because to suddenly have these people talking about, it's time for change. Let me make sure I understand, right? We had a black president, half black, but a black president, a black attorney general. Why weren't things fixed then, right? Why didn't we have massive sweeping change? As a matter of fact, there for a while we had a Democrat-controlled House and Senate. Why weren't changes enacted? If these changes are so desperately needed, if the police state is so bad, if our police departments are so bad, then why didn't they change it all when they had the power to do so? Right? They could have got stuff fast-tracked. They could have made it happen. Crickets in the clink of silverware. Ladies and gentlemen, we are being played. We are being played. So it is what it is. It's time for many of us to stop standing on the sidelines. I already put my name out there. I'm willing to take the attacks. I don't care, right? Say what you want about me. My friends, my family, they know the truth. It's only a matter of time, right? There are people right now playing on Facebook, calling people names because I ran for office. Hey, at least my name was on the ballot. Right? Oh, you lost in this county. Okay, you're right. I absolutely did. That's okay. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. As a matter of fact, I look at it, I'm like, all things considered, right? And look, I had a guy running for what was he running for? I think city council. And we met when we were out putting signs up. And at the polling places, right, the night before the election. And he looked at me and he said, if you're going to lose an election, this is the one to lose. This is the one to lose because it has been insane, right? There are tons of reasons. There are tons of, restrictions in place and all this and, the vote by mail and all this nonsense. If you're going to lose an election, this is the one to lose. And I don't disagree. I had to give it to him. I'm like, you're not wrong. Out of all the elections, I'll take this one. So November's coming fast, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. You think you got time, but you really don't. It is sneaking up on you very quickly. And I know a lot of people, they don't want to hear about politics right now. They're like, oh, primary's over. Oh, thank God. Give me a little while, right? Give me a little while. Please don't come at me with that political stuff. Give me a little bit of time. And I agree with that to a degree. Let's take a breath, back away from politics for a smidgen. But I'm going to tell you, when the official stuff comes out and I can tell you what's going on, I will need your help again. And I have no problem begging for it, please. To to help me spread the message. It's a smaller step, a couple steps down, right? Not running for Congress this time. We're going to save that one, right? We're going to be better prepared for that one. What do you, just out of curiosity, what do you guys think? Do you believe, first of all, do you think that if Mark Leyva got out there and hustled, do you think he could beat Frank Mervan Jr.? Don't forget the junior, because it's two different people. Do you believe that it would be possible for him, if he got out there, if he put in the work, if he knocked the doors, if he did the mailers and the commercials and did everything, raised the money and actually worked, do you think he could win? I'm curious. Dave says no. I don't know. I was reached out to try to get my help for him. Sean says no. Here's what it comes down to for me, regardless of that, right? Take that out. If he's not willing to work in the primary, how willing is he to work hard for you in Washington? Just think about that, right? If he's not willing to get out there and work on the campaign trail, even in this crazy time, I don't know. That's my thing, and that was what I tried to. Dave, yeah. yeah. I hear you. I don't know. It is what it is. So I am signing off for this evening. Good stuff coming up. Trying to get some more guests on. So if you know of someone who would like to come on and have a conversation, I have a specific thing coming up, but again, limited info for now. So appreciate you hanging out with me. God bless you, and God bless the USA.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2020. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.